I want to thank everybody for coming up here this morning. It's really good to see you all. I can remember about 10 years ago coming to this airport not too far from here, as a matter of fact, waiting at the airport for my son who had just finished his service in the Marine Corps in Iraq coming home. It was an emotional, proud moment for me and my family. I was here picking up my son, waiting for him after 4 years of service in the Marine Corps. And I really won't forget what it was like to see him walk out of the doors and into the waiting area at the airport. It was pretty powerful. It was good to have him home and safe. And that's one of the things I remember about this airport. And I'm sure that a lot of people have similar thoughts and memories about the airport. It's always going to be part of my life, just like the city has always been a part of my life. It's been in the city's fabric since 1972, and it's served us well. But here's the thing. Our community has grown. Our needs as a city have changed. And plain and simple, the airport of the 20th century allowed Kansas Cityans to leave here and see the world. Now what we need is an airport for the 21st century that allows the world to come and see Kansas City. That's the challenge that we faced as a city, and that's why today's announcement is so unique and so important. I'm here this morning with a group of people dedicated to the success of our city. And the plan that's being proposed for a new single terminal airport to be built right here in the place where Terminal A stands is truly a Kansas City solution to a Kansas City problem. Debate over the future of our airport has been going on for years. And just over a year ago, I hit the pause button and on any plans to proceed with proposed changes while we worked on making sure that we were starting to get the message out better than we had in the past. We knew we needed more time for conversations and for listening and for input, and for the community to learn more about what our city actually derives from the airport and how important the airport really is to us. At the same time, I asked the business community to take a leadership role in this discussion and to come up with possible solutions to the issues. We challenged our leadership community and our business community to come up with an innovative path forward. And well, today I'm here to tell you with Troy Schulte and the rest of the city staff that I'm pleased to tell you that the representatives of Burns and Mack, a Kansas City based employee-owned company, has put forth a truly innovative and unique proposal that can solve the challenges that we are facing with our airport and as a city. At its core, the proposal means that we as a city will get the benefit of their expertise, their dedication, and most importantly, their money to privately finance a new single terminal airport. One more time, this proposal puts forth a proposal that takes zero money from the city. It has no tax increase for any Kansas Citian, and it adds not a penny of debt to the city's debt level or budget. What we have in place is a memorandum of understanding that we were working on and have been working on for the past couple of weeks that was finished yesterday, literally around 5 o'clock or so. That memorandum of understanding will now go to the City Council for consideration. We will hold public hearings and solicit public input. If the council adopts the MOU, it will allow Burns and Mack to continue their due diligence to ensure that they can finance and construct a new single terminal and that is convenient for all the users and meets the needs of our growing business community, meets the needs of our growing tourism community, and meets the needs of our airlines who operate out of Kansas City, and allows them to do what they've said they wanted to do, which is to expand. I want to be clear, this doesn't mean that a new airport would that would give up the conveniences that we enjoy here. Those things can be engineered in, and that's going to be the goal of the teams that's working it up. Things like convenient parking, things like easy curbside pickup and drop off, easy in and out. And the things that we are always going to try to work to do is to make this convenient and to keep the convenience that Kansas Cityans love. But that's really nothing new for the city in recent years. From the Sprint Center to the Kaufman Performing Arts Center to the streetcar to the Nelson Atkins Museum, we have seamlessly blended the future and the past. And that's what we're going to try to do here. It's time for the airport. It's their time to have that remake. I think we can all agree that doing nothing here is not an option. We've heard it time and time and time again. We have to do something. The MOU isn't the final deal. The MOU is simply a construct to allow a final deal to be molded and to allow the due diligence that they've been working on for quite some time to continue to be worked on. This is a complicated matter that requires a lot of intricate moves and to make sure that things are lined up properly. The council will have the opportunity to weigh in on this very shortly. And as they do so, the public will also have an opportunity to have input. The MOU is only a step towards the final deal, which would mean that the council would adopt ballot language and Kansas Cityans will get to vote on that ballot language. So let me repeat one more time. The council will vote on an MOU. Kansas Cityans will vote on a new terminal. Even though not a dime of city tax dollars, not a dime of city funds, no bonds issued by the city, no debt for the city is involved, we made a promise as a council in the last term that we would let the Kansas City people vote on this terminal, and we plan to keep that promise. That's not something that we're going to change or give up. What I am convinced of is that after conversations continue with the people of Kansas City, we'll see what we've already seen. People slowly but surely understanding the value of the airport and making a move towards yes. And I believe we have a compelling case to make to the voters. And I appreciate the willingness of the voters to think big and to say yes to planning for the future when given an opportunity and a thoughtful, well-presented proposal. I've asked a lot of our city in recent years. I've asked for things that people said we simply could not ask for or get. But all I'm asking for today is for the people of this great city to join together with us, to work with us together, to make this city even greater, to join in the hard work of progress, to join in the hard work of change. And I think that the offer put forth today is an example of some of that that's already taken place. As mayor, it's my job to communicate the challenges that we face as a city, but most importantly, it's my job to find solutions to those challenges, even the most difficult challenges. As a matter of fact, especially the most diligent challenges. We have a history of taking on the issues that have been lying dormant and talking to the people of Kansas City and giving them the facts and letting them decide, and they have decided in their own best interest, and they've done so quite well. The character of our city is what makes us imaginative and innovative, and what makes this challenge and this solution innovative as well. Solutions like today's announcement are things that were uniquely Kansas City and things that should make every Kansas Citian proud. This is really the Kansas City spirit. It's not hyperbole when I say that this is truly a generational choice. We won't have this opportunity in the near future again if we don't take advantage of it now. I think the proposal put forward today and the debate that we're going to have in the future over the coming weeks and over the coming months will be a part of this city's fabric for years to come. It will set a stage for a new generation of memories and moments like those that we shared in the past 40 years and moments like I shared here at this airport 10 years ago when I watched my son come back from a war theater intact. That's what this city means to me. That's what this airport means to us. And it's time for us to take a stab at getting this done right. Thank you very much. I would like to tell you that there is an individual who's worked hard, who brought this proposal to the city just a couple of months ago. They've worked on it, and now they've gotten it honed down to a point where we can bring it out and talk about it, massage it, and maybe make some changes to it if necessary. And that's Ray Kowalik, the president, CEO of Burns & McDonnell. Ray?
I'm proud here to represent our company, Burns & McDonnell. We were challenged by the Kansas City leadership to solve a challenge, and that challenge was how we could build KCI. Burns and Mack was ready to dive in head first and create a creative solution. We did this because this is what we do and what we love. We build stuff. We are the #3 airport designer in the nation and the only Missouri company in the top 5 in designing airports. We're working on some of the biggest, most challenging airport projects in the nation. Those include LaGuardia and LAX. This design is very personal, not just to me, but all the employee owners of Burns McDonnell. Our employees alone fly over 33,000 times in a year out of this airport. 33,000, over 90 flights a day from our employees, because we are out building things in other parts of this great nation of ours. With the one terminal design, it'll open up economic development. It'll create lots of new jobs, not just during construction, but afterwards. Think about how many more flights we could possibly have if we had an airport that was a connector airport, and there were people that wanted to use the airport, came regionally, and they didn't drive to St. Louis, they didn't drive to Omaha, they came to Kansas City. And we understand as well as anybody that convenience is ultimately the most important thing with our airport. I fly out of this airport. Our employees fly out of this airport. I grew up in Kansas City. This airport will be as convenient as we possibly can make it. We will have 35 new gates. This is similar to the plan that's already been approved by the airlines. We'll have 6,500 parking spot garage. Put that in perspective, each parking garage currently is 2,000 spaces. So over 3 times more spaces right outside the terminal. And convenience is more than parking, it's also drop off and pickup. Currently, those are all in the same level of our current system. The new parking or the new drop off and pickup will be 2 levels and many, many, many more lanes, including a lane for the buses and the Uber drivers and the taxi drivers and everybody else that has to pick up people. Burns and Mack is very proud to call Kansas City home. We've been here for 119 years in Kansas City, Missouri. We have almost 3,000 employees in the city. We need a new, modern KCI, not just for us, but for the rest of the business community and for our citizens, so they can travel places and people can come here and have a great experience. I'm very excited to have this proposal on the table. I hope we garner great support, and I look forward to a wonderful airport. Thank you.
The next person, Duke, is a friend of working families and people all across this city. He's been a great friend to the workers and to the city itself. And he's here representing a number of people from the labor community who are standing behind him and behind us. Duke.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you guys for being here today. Really appreciate it. This airport was built in 1972. Kansas City saw an opportunity and a chance and built this thing. And a year later, the first problem arose. There was changes in security requirements of the airlines. And so Kansas City faced a problem. And whenever Kansas City faces a problem, it did what it always does. It came together, found a solution, and built it. And so a year later, the first upgrade was done to this airport. And throughout the history of this airport, we have continued to upgrade, to fix, and to keep it running and keep it moving right along. Kansas City needs an airport. This is an asset of our city that is used by the region, is used by the military, and used by the business community, as well as vacationers and the people who are coming to Kansas City now. 1 second, let's see if I get a break. Union pilot, guys. So now, here we are at a place where it's time to build a new airport. And organized labor is ready to do that. We stand ready to build this and build it right. We look forward to it. This is an opportunity for us to be able to get the man hours in. They're going to be able to fund the training program for the next generation of construction workers, to be able to fund the health care and the welfare and the pension funds for our members. This is an opportunity for the unions to get ready for the future. So today, I'm here to tell you that the sons and daughters and grandchildren of the people who built this airport stand ready to build a new single terminal for Kansas City. Thank you.
John Modest Miles is an old friend, a well-known pastor in the city, and a person who will work to help make sure that the opportunities that come along with building a new single terminal, the jobs and the other things, are made available to everyone in the community. John Modest Miles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we come today, it gives me to be great pleasure to be with you on today. Thank you for involving me in this momentous occasion. I'm excited to be here today because I have dedicated my career to improving Kansas City's neighborhoods and the best programs for our community, the growth of jobs. Burns and McDonald's has been at the forefront of apprenticeships and training to ensure people from the community have the opportunity to work on major projects. They led the effort on the sports complex project to ensure jobs, training, apprenticeship, and jobs were available to Kansas City residents. Our plan is to replicate the effort on this project. Monday, I'm bringing leaders from the community together at Burns and McDonald's request to find ways to ensure that residents who wants to work at the airport will have the chance to do so. We are going to address jobs, opportunities, but also transportation as well. Finally, I'm excited because we have many needs in our community and few tax dollars to meet those needs. It is clear this project ensures our city tax dollars are protected and the airport is paid for by the users. And I say to you today, thank you for allowing me to participate, and I look forward to working with you on this project. Thank you.
Next up is Darren Hennon here representing the Northland Chamber and the Platte County EDC. Darren is an individual that we have a great deal of faith in. He serves on a couple of boards for us. He brings a lot of financial expertise to the table. Darren Hennon.
Well, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to join today as we begin moving towards the new phase of a better KCI through the advancement of a new single terminal. I have the privilege of representing the Platte County Economic Development Council and the Northland Regional Chamber of Commerce. While KCI serves as a transportation portal, allowing goods, people, and services to move into and through the Kansas City region, it is also a job center, and when fully developed has the potential to serve as an economic engine for the entire region. But, equally important, KCI is a gateway to Kansas City and our region, a place where we welcome businesses and visitors alike, and where we depart for destinations across the country and around the globe. Kansas City has seen a renaissance through the development of a vibrant and growing downtown, successful passage of an infrastructure investment, successful and popular streetcar, as well as an increase in economic development activity. So it's fitting then that after nearly 50 years we begin the process of advancing a new single terminal that meets the safety and the convenience needs of the traveling public, all the while working in tandem with and promoting our great city in our entire region. To the Platte County EDC and the Northland Chamber, KCI is a permanent and physical part of our landscape. The images and sounds of the daily takeoffs and landings are part of our routine and provide a certain rhythm to our day. So we embrace this day as we begin the discernment process to understand the best method to advance a new single terminal. And we stand ready to support the mayor and the city council as the proposals move through the committee process. Again, we thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this day.
Next up is a man who has a unique perspective on people coming into and going out of Kansas City in his role as the CEO and Executive Director of Visit KC, Ronnie Burton.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be here for this exciting announcement. From my perspective, the airport is our city's front door. It is the first impression and welcome statement for travelers. Today, 24 million visitors visit our city each year. Convention groups repeatedly tell us that our central location makes air travel convenient and a manageable cost for their attendees. A single terminal provides the convenient, centralized place for arriving groups to meet before exploring the city. They are currently split up between multiple terminals. A single terminal creates the experience for visitors and business travelers, offering desired services, amenities, and their guests. It also offers the opportunity to visit more destinations and direct flights. A modern single terminal airport fit for today's travelers is a more accurate reflection of the vibrant, innovative destination we've become, and one we're selling and marketing well into the future. This is a positive advancement forward. Visit KC has ignited the tone and elevated the narrative. Today, every dollar we spend, there's a $93 return, which says people are noticing us more now than ever before. The energy, the vibe, momentum of our city is growing. We are in the national spotlight. From the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Chicago Tribune, and many more. Kansas City is on an upward swing, and our destination is poised for even greater things to come. Core to the mission of what we do is advancing the quality of life for our destination. We must propel our city forward to ensure community sustainability, regional growth, job creation, and the announcement today supports that. What comes next is up to all of us. This is a positive advancement forward, and I'm confident we will love the design, look, feel, and experience of a new single terminal. We should always remember what we do and the decisions we make today will define our future. We must keep the momentum going for the next generation. At Visit KC, we say we can't stop, won't stop. We are Kansas City, and what I want is for even more people to visit KC. Thank you. We will now take questions from the press, because I'm sure you have lots of questions.
Mayor James, what do you say to folks who believe that, citizens who believe that they were hoping to have some input on the front end of this before you got a deal for design and build?
Well, it hasn't been designed or built yet, and they're going to have that input. We are talking about finance. We're not talking about anything other than that. The process is simply one of how are we going to pay for whatever it is that's there. That hasn't changed. There will still be time for input. There'll still be time for hearings. There'll still be time for committee meetings. There'll be a lot of time for input. We haven't changed at all in that. Not to mention the fact that we had a whole lot of time before to have a conversation about this. This conversation's been going on for 5 years. This isn't the first time the subject has come up.
What do you say about the possibility, since we're speaking about finance, that this deal will raise user fees out there and ticket prices?
Well, I don't necessarily think that that's necessarily true. Ticket prices are decided by a host of factors, not just the cost of the airport. Every airport that's been built has had an increase in user fees, but we're down near the bottom in terms of user fees, and even adding $3 or $4 to a ticket is going to keep us well below the median part of the user fee scale. So this is not a heavy lift. We're not talking about hundreds of dollars here. What we're really talking about is financing this thing through the things that you find in other airports. Better parking, places where you can eat, places where you can buy stuff. All of those things will contribute to the income and revenue streams that will pay for it. Ticket prices have to be competitive. No airline is going to price a ticket at a point where nobody buys it. They're going to be competitive with other airlines. One of the main drivers of a ticket price is fuel. As fuel fluctuates, the ticket prices will fluctuate more than as a result of this airport. Further, the destinations have an impact on it to some extent. So I think that people can relax a little bit on that. There's not going to be those huge increases, not to mention the fact that there's a cap on how high you can raise some of those fees, and we're not even going to be close to it.
How do you plan to address the fact that there remains a great deal of skepticism among Kansas Cityans that the city will still, in some fashion, be on the hook for a renovation out here? Because you see the polls, so do I.
Well, that's exactly why we have this deal in front of us, to make sure that they understand that the city will not be on this deal. This is private financing. We don't have to issue any bonds. We don't have to take on any debt. We don't have to pay any money out of the general fund. We don't have to raise any taxes. This is a privately financed deal. They are taking on the risk. They will raise the capital. They will be the ones on the hook. We have no debt. We have no risk here. And I don't know, we'll say it as many times as it needs to be said, but that's the reason that this deal is being vetted right now. Yes, ma'am.
Is the $3 or $4 user fee what you guys are looking at right now?
You know, Troy,
Yeah, the beauty of this financing proposal that Burns and Mack has brought forward is it concurs with an agreed upon rate increase that had already been approved by the airlines. The city and the airlines had been in discussion for the better part of a year before, as the mayor mentioned, he hit pause on the proposal. So this is a rate structure that is designed assuming public financing. The airlines were on board, had agreed to this. It keeps us in the bottom half of all of our comparable airports in terms of landing fees, in terms of cost per passenger to operate and build this facility. The beauty is that Burns and Mack comes in and says the private sector will build this facility for the same public sector price and will deliver it cheaper and will deliver it faster. And therefore, they think they can provide value out of it. But from an airline perspective and from the city perspective, it simply executes the deal that the airlines had agreed, which assumed about a $3 or $4 increase over time, and again, keeps us below the bottom half of all other comparable airports in the country.
Can I just, on that,
Sure.
Mr. Troy, the MOU calls for an annual debt service target of $85.2 million over what, 30 years?
Yes,
So the total cost is about $2.5 billion.
yes,
With construction and interest. Over
with financing, right.
And $85 million divided by 10 million annual passengers is an increase, an average increase of about $8.50, not $4, right?
But there also is an assumption that there is going to be growth in passenger enplanements of 1.9% a year, which is the FAA projected increase in growth. And I'll say and I may not have the exact number, but the growth in passenger enplanement this last year was, what, 6%, guys? 6%, over 6% growth. So we think that there's the growth in enplanements, the growth in airline activity moderates that number down into the $4 range over time.
Over time, but in the initial stages, it's a little more because it's private financing, which is more expensive.
But there's other revenues that'll come into it, parking, concessions, all that. So that's why that number, that enplanement charge goes up slightly.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
the people who like KCI the way that it is have told me repeatedly, I want to be able to get off my plane, take no more than 100 steps, and be waiting at the curb for my ride. Can you tell those folks that this new terminal is going to meet that standard? And if Burns and Mack can address that too, I would appreciate it.
I can tell you that they will be able to walk no more than 100 steps, probably because there'll be moving sidewalks. But I also would encourage them to look at their Fitbits that we wear, because we wear them for a reason. So maybe more than 100 steps after barbecue, which you'll be able to buy there, and food that you'll be able to eat, and those types of things. You might want to walk a little more. But nobody is going to build an airport that is not convenient. We built this airport to be convenient. We're going to continue to build things that are convenient. We want to make this the most inviting, convenient airport that is absolutely possible, but we want to make it a 21st century airport, not the airport of the last century. We're going to be fine. People shouldn't be worried. When you walk 100 steps, nobody is counting. So if you walk 110 or if you walk 99, you're still going to be in the range. Nobody's going to be needing oxygen by the time they walk through here. This is not going to be Atlanta. It's not going to be Denver. It's not going to be Minneapolis. It's going to be Kansas City. And let me assure you, it will be convenient. Lord knows if there's any one thing we want to engineer into this, it's convenience, because that's the linchpin. And we'll get that done.
And you understand that's what people are talking about here when they talk about convenience, that short walk.
I do understand that, but I also think that we need to define convenience. Convenience is not just how far it is from the car to the curb. Convenience is when I was stuck in Love Field the other day for 6 hours. I had multiple places to sit, multiple places to eat, multiple things to do. I was able to make sure that I at least was sentient by the time I left there after a 6-hour overtime stay in the airport, and I felt comfortable in doing so. Not only that, because of the back of the planes, the place was full and nobody was really sitting on top of each other. Convenience means that when you get into security, you can actually eat something that doesn't come wrapped up in cellophane. Convenience also means, particularly if you're a woman, that you can go to the bathroom without standing in a long line waiting to get there. Convenience means that you don't have to stand up and wait because there aren't enough seats. It also means that you're able to charge up your devices, which is pretty big. So there's lots of levels of convenience, and we're going to do our best to engineer every single level of convenience into this airport that we possibly can. We want the people of Kansas City to be proud of this airport, to make it a show place, to understand that this is a unique Kansas City asset, and we want them to use it just like that. We'll be convenient.
Mayor, when you talk about a show place, when the Street Center was built, there was a consortium of local architectural firms who were involved in that. Is there any discussion of design partners with Burlington Mac on this project?
We are a Kansas City company. This is going to be a Kansas City team. Everybody involved in this project is going to be from the community. We are not to the level of detail of starting detailed design on this project. We are working specifically on being able to find all the details we need to finalize the cost of this airport. There is a lot of time between now and when we start the detailed design. We expect to bring a lot of the community involved, our disadvantaged and minority-owned businesses involved, not just in the construction, but in the design services.
Are there any design firms though that are already working with you on this, like maybe Populous, which is involved in
Currently, we are working on this project ourselves and with one of the airline's favorite architects in understanding how to design the flow of an airport. And they're in our offices working on this currently.
Can you name them?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Can you identify them, what that company is?
I don't know if they're willing to be public, so I don't want to speak for others. I can only speak for myself.
Okay, one more. Anybody else?
Does the airport, I mean, does the city control the construction? Does the city give that up, or how do you work? It's still the city's airport, right?
It's still the city's airport. So the bottom line is this is just about the financing piece. The city controls the airport, and of course the city aviation department will work closely if the city council approves this MOU, and if the city council approves to put this before a vote of the people, and if the people vote on it, the city will work closely with the project manager to make sure that this is the Kansas City project that we all want.
And Mayor, about what time would you anticipate a hunch here that there'd be a vote?
Well, I think the newspaper suggested we go in November, and I'm certainly going to follow their advice.
Nice try.
November.